Hello, good morning, everybody. It is a little after 11. I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. And this is Paint with Mesma from my studio right outside of New York. It happens every Saturday mornings from 11 to noon. Welcome. This is an opportunity for me to interact with you and to take your questions and your ideas about art in general. Sometimes I will talk about artists' quotations. We will discuss them from this lovely book, The Quotable Artist, because I do believe that great artists have a lot to teach us. And especially in today's world when we are so isolated and living in our own little quarters, interactions are minimum in person. These are the people who guide us and to tell us how to deal with difficult situations, how to deal with challenging parts of life, especially for artists when they face some extremely difficult roadblocks along the way. Because we all have challenges, we all have difficulties, but sometimes they can be insurmountable. And it is only because we don't know how to deal with them, how to go about them in the absence of proper mentorship, in the absence of guidance. So we are lost. And then we get despondent, we get depressed, and we can't find a way out of that situation. So I often refer to what other artists have said, how they work, how they think about their work, how they approach life in general, because they have a lot to teach me. And I hope to share that learning with you through these sessions. Also, this is a session where I open my studio to you and you get a peek into my process. Sometimes I will draw, sometimes I will paint, and we talk about the techniques. We talk about different ways in which we create illusion, for example, of a three-dimensional object on a two-dimensional space, or we create the illusion of passing time on a two-dimensional surface, or we create the illusion of a dream, for example. How do we bring into that little space of the canvas, how do we bring an entire universe? How do we condense a whole world into that limited space? This is a joy. It's a real thrill when you can come to that point where your imagination can fly, and yet you have the artillery of technique with you to engage yourself and your imagination in a beautiful, how do you call it, in a cohesive, comprehensive way. So you are able to articulate through your technique, through the practice, through the time that you have invested in practicing your skill, your craft, into creating art. And I know this is a controversial topic. Some people don't consider craft as art, some people do. I'm not here to discuss that. I do believe that in order to create great art, you need to practice your craft, you need to practice your technique. And only when you have mastered, well, there are very few people who master it, but only when you have been consistent at that practice can you aspire to be creating something that has an impact beyond yourself, beyond the self of the artist. So why do you create what you create? That's a big question too, and that can be discussed in another session. But in today's session, I thought I would like to work on a drawing. I have spoken about this topic in my previous sessions, and the practice, the idea, the concept of drawing and how to draw is fundamentally crucial and critical to the art of painting. In fact, when you paint, you're really drawing with color and your brush. So there is a, there's a huge importance given to the craft of drawing and the technique of drawing in in um, in the field of painting. So there are a few quotations that I'd like to read in today's session about the art of drawing and what people have said about this, because um, I have found that very few teachers in art schools will teach you the actual craft of art making, the actual techniques, because we have come to a point in history where those things are not considered important. Uh, we have entered a highly conceptual, highly intellectualized art world, and our institutions are serving that purpose. Um, Again, I'm not going to comment on whether it's good or bad. I'm just stating that that is how it is. And we have to be aware of that. And I am hyper aware of it. Being an artist, being a painter, painting on a canvas is not a new thing. This has been done for hundreds of years now. In fact, some people say that everything that has to be done in painting has been done. There's nothing more, there's nothing revolutionary that you can create. Although I don't believe in that. I think that human potential is immense. It is gargantuan in its scope and its reach, and human imagination can do fantastic things that we can't even think of at the moment. So we don't know what is the future going to bring. What we only know is the present, and what we can do in the present moment. So I just focus on that in my practice. I am focused on today, what I can do today. Have I gone to my studio and worked or not? That is all that matters to me. Rest everything is just talk. So okay, so coming back to the drawing, there are a couple of quotations that I wanted to read. The first one I want to read to you is by Edgar Degas. As you know, Degas was a post-impressionist. He's mostly known for his pastel drawings of ballet dancers, and he was also a sculptor. Anyway, so here he says, I quote, "The artist does not draw what he sees." Okay? The artist does not draw what he sees, but what he has to make others see. Now, this is a very dense quotation. I could unpack this for an hour, but I'm not going to. But let's look at what he's saying. And you might like Degas, you might not like Degas. One can get all political about his personal life and what he did and how he got these dancers to pose and how he exploited them and whatnot. I'm not here to comment on that. Yes, there's reams of literature on all that. One can go and read about it. I'm interested in what he's saying. I'm interested in what he's saying about drawing. Okay, that's it. That's my interest in Degas at the moment. So he is saying the artist does not draw what he sees. This comes from the tradition of artists looking at something, the academic style, the academic tradition of artists observing nature and then drawing from that observation. So he's saying that it's not enough to just see and draw that. What he's saying, he's making comment on representational art. He's making a comment on making a tree look exactly like a tree, making a tree, drawing every leaf of it. I've um, I know some painters who, when they draw or paint portrait, they are concerned about every single hair, every single pore on the skin, every single eyelash, every single wrinkle. Um, and that's a photorealistic, what we call photorealistic painting. And some painters are so good that you can't tell the difference between a painting and a photograph. You don't know what you're looking at. So he's talking about that. He's talking about the artist not drawing what he sees, he or she. Okay. um, but what he has to make others see. So he's urging the artist to not stop at just the craft of copying nature exactly how one sees it. Yeah, you can paint a lemon and then it looks like so much like a lemon on a canvas that you want to go grab it. um, the illusion that one creates, and that's an art in itself. But he's saying that there's something more to nature, there's something more beyond the seen world that you can see with your eyes. And the artist's job is to reach out to that intangible, invisible magic behind the form, and to touch the core of that and to bring it out and to create that magic on the canvas. So drawing, and he's not talking about a painting, he's talking about basic drawing. From the time you draw, from the time you pick up the pencil or the charcoal or whatever it is you're drawing with, from that moment, your perception of the world around you has to be so fine and so intuitive that you look at an object, but you don't look at the surface of the object, but you look through it, you look into it. A chair is a chair is a chair. Why does a chair painted by Van Gogh have such a power over us? Why do we look at it and it just hits us? Or when he paints a pair of shoes, for example, you know, they're dirty workers' shoes. They are uh, filthy. They are drenched in dirt, and they are deformed from overuse. They are gnarly, and you can barely imagine anyone wearing them because they don't look like wearable objects. And yet they have such a presence. They have such power over us. You know? So So you wonder, what is it that makes Van Gogh's chair or his shoes when he paints them so powerful? Why have they become masterpieces? It is because he is not just showing us the surface of a chair, of the surface of that the pair of the shoes that he's painting. You see something of the chair's nature in it. You see its whole life. You see the chairness in the chair, if that makes sense to you. You see it alive. It's an alive image. It's not a dead image. It throbs with the vitality of the artist's passion. And it is this human passion that will breathe life into the object that is being painted or drawn, which is what Degas is actually speaking about here. Yeah. So we have to be really attuned to the um, entire universe in a way that we can look at an object I'm talking about practicing artists, that we can look at an object and we can capture its essence in our work. Because why bother painting it otherwise? You know, it's much more beautiful to look at an object the way it exists in nature. So, what do we do when we say that um, I'm painting it? Why paint it? Why bother painting it when it already exists in nature? You are bringing to it something that you cannot see. And that is what Degas is talking about. But what he has to make others see. Yeah. So think about that. Think about, where does the rationale of making art live? I ask myself this question all the time. When I'm working in my studio, I said, why should I bother making this painting? Why should I bother making it? Well, if I don't make it, I can't sleep at night, or I can't eat food, or I can't live, I can't be happy, because that's the only way I can live. That's the only way I know how to live. If I didn't do that, I'll stop living. That's a good enough reason for me, because I'm not sitting there analyzing that it needs to have this and it needs to have vitality and it needs to have. No, I am creating because there's nothing else I would rather do. Because that I realize that to be my calling. Yeah. So that is why we do what we do, and that is what Degas is saying, is that the act of drawing is not just about representing an object. You can learn the techniques of drawing, but you can't learn the uh, to create. You can't learn to create um, a drawing that is alive, that throbs with life and vitality, and that is what is meant here. There's another quote that I'd like to read. Um, oh, there's so many. I'm trying to see which one might be the best one. Um, oh, this is a little long one, but it's a good one. It's by John Sloan, who lived between 1871 and 1951. So, not that long ago, although it's going to be 100 years from 100 years ago almost. Okay, so here's what he says. Draw places you have seen from memory. I used to paint things I had glimpsed through windows while riding in the elevated train. Remember the kind of place it was. Get the character of the whole room as well as the human being in it. Get the character. He's not saying draw it exactly as you see it. He says get the character of the whole room as well as the human being in it. He's talking about the character of the room. Think about that. Okay? The sturdiness of a chair, the delicacy of muslin curtains blowing in the windows. The sturdiness of a chair. He's not talking just draw a chair. You have to be able to draw the sturdiness of the chair and the delicacy of muslin curtains. Of course, this is representational drawing. Okay? But even in that, if your chair looks light as a feather, it could be a kind of a chair, but it is not the chair that you and I are familiar with. Yeah? The tired look of the rug on the floor. So he's humanizing inanimate objects. He's saying that rug is tired. It's the poetry. He's after the poetry in the art. That is what makes it art. So he's not after prose. He's not after um, just stating that this is a rug and this is a chair and these are the curtains, these are the windows. No, he is talking about the quality of the rug, and he gives it a human quality, saying it's a tired rug. Yeah. The tired look of the rug on the floor, the droop of the woman's hand in her lap, the tired folds in her skirt, the droop of the woman's hand in her lap, the tired folds in her skirt. So, this is a despondent woman he's talking about. So, her despondency is not just evident in the gesture of her hand being on her lap, but even the folds of her skirt should tell a story, should tell the state of her mind, of her being, of her soul. And that is what he says. In other words, without really stating it, he is telling the artist how to be an artist, how to make art. It is one thing to illustrate through drawing, but it's another completely different thing to make an object of art. And it is the poetry that makes it that. It is the poetry infused in the image that speaks through the image that will make it art. Get the heat of the room, he says. Get the heat of the room, the quality of the air in the room. This is a very, very difficult thing to do. It is very easy to just go and paint a landscape. It's not easy, but talk to Turner and he'll tell you, paint a landscape, that's a lifetime's work. But it's what I'm talking about, not the way Turner paints a landscape. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, it's easy to draw a line of horizon, draw a sun, couple of houses, a road, a tree. That's a composition. Yes, one can do that, and one does that in the process. We've all done it as kids in primary school, and that's the starting point. And that has its place. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you want to grow, if you want to move forward from that phase, if you want to evolve into something, then you have to be able to give it something of your own. You have to bring your own self. You have to bring your own Van Gogh to those shoes. If you paint the shoes, or if you paint the chair, or if you paint irises, as he painted, or the sunflowers, or the cypress trees that he painted. Those are not just cypress trees. Those are cypress trees as Van Gogh saw them. They are infused with his blood. You can see them throbbing with his passion. And that is what makes those cypress trees so great to behold. Anyway, so these are the two quotations. I'll stop now. I have many more here that I would love to read, but I think we'll get too quotation heavy. Yeah, I'm getting seduced by another one, but I will stop now. This is a book I highly recommend it, The Quotable Artist by Peggy Haddon. If you are an studio artist or not, don't have to be, but if you want to be inspired by quotations by other artists, this is a great book. It has some very beautiful and powerful, inspiring quotes in it. And they help me. They help me get through bad days mostly, but they also help me with my morning inspiration. Because sometimes, well, often I like to read some of these in the morning because they set me up for the day, the day's work. They set me up in a good mood and in a good frame of mind, so I can sit and know that these artists, and I have some other books too, that these artists will be there. They're watching over me, and I feel their presence in my studio when I work, and it's lovely. It's lovely to be surrounded by that energy. It's lovely to have that kind of a source of guidance, of inspiration, which allows you to create your own creations, but also they allow you to they don't allow you to get despondent. Uh, they lift you up, they keep you buoyant, and they uh, they are guiding lights along the way. All right. So today's drawing session, I thought I would just do a subconscious memory drawing. A subconscious memory drawing is not a drawing that you might make by observing a work of an object. So usually you do observational drawing, where you have a still life or you have whatever in front of you, a model, and then you draw, you study the form, the texture, and all that, and that's one kind of drawing. But I'd like to have some fun today with unplanned drawing, completely unplanned, where I just don't think about what is going to come out of my pencil, and I just keep on going. I keep on going without thinking. So this is challenging. It's challenging to stop your mind and let your hand go where it wants to go and what it wants to create. Because often we get trapped in assessing, in analyzing, in judging what we are doing, whether it's good or not, whether it looks good or not. Then you want to look at it in the mirror. This is technique, by the way. You look at the drawing in the mirror and assess whether it's balanced or in proportion, and all of that. So I'm not talking about that kind of drawing. I'm talking about a drawing where you can completely forget about the analytical part, and then you just fly with your intuitions. And sometimes it's hard to do, but it's a good exercise to shut off the analytical brain, to shut it off completely, and to delve into the subconscious self. And sometimes it's scary to find out what is there in one's subconscious. Um, there are some dark places that come out, and there are some light places too that might come out. So let's see. Uh, this is my drawing, well, kit, so to speak. It's from the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. My dear friend Wei brought this for me as a gift, and I cherish it very much. So, Wei, if you're watching, I'm still using this. It's quite dear to me, and it holds my pencils and my sharpener. It is really handy. And I love that it's just a little pouch um, with a band around it, and I can close it and take it with me wherever I go. So here's what I use for my drawings. I will use a charcoal pencil. This is a very soft, dark pencil. And then I mostly use 4Bs, graphite pencils. Or sometimes I use a B, which is a hard pencil, but that is only if I want to work on a canvas where I need to make sure that the lines are not so dark and I can work over them. But for this purpose, I think I'm going to use my 4B and my charcoal pencil. So I realized that my 4B is not, well, I can use this one instead. The other one is not as properly sharpened. This is another thing. When you're drawing, you want to make sure that your pencils are sharpened properly. And I use the box cutter knife to sharpen my pencils. I know it might scare some people, but that's what I do. I don't like the electric sharpeners at all. They are very childish. I find them very childish, and they don't do a good job. I want my pencils well sharpened and well pointed, so they can be. So you see, a lot of graphite is exposed, and then I sharpen the point so that I can get some precision with line. Line is very important to me, because especially because I've been a figurative painter, So I'm uh, not been an abstractionist. I'm not a good abstractionist. I like figures. I like the challenge of human anatomy. I like the challenge of human figures. And drawing a human figure is such a complex thing. And I think that you can never get accurate with drawing and studying a human figure. And that is what is so fascinating about human figure to me. And then this is the charcoal pencil that I need to get a little more sharpened. And one has to be more careful with this because it is very soft and it always, always breaks. So let's see if I have practiced my sharpening skills. Do not let this one break. Let's see. Oh, not bad. Not bad so far. And okay, not bad at all. Yay. I still have it. I haven't lost my pencil sharpening skills. And this is my friend. This is my friend. It will sharpen everything, all my pencils, all my charcoals, even my pastels. It will sharpen. So this is a super invention, whoever invented it. All right. Now, oh, let's go at it. So this is I don't know if you can see, maybe I should pull this a little closer so you can see it. Okay, I think you can see a little bit more. I'll pull it closer. And then now we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to come out. I have to just work on it and not think about what is it that I am trying to draw. It's totally unplanned, completely spontaneous. And let's hope that nothing of my dark side comes out, because there's a lot of me that is dark, very dark. And I'm always afraid that it's going to come out in public. So let's hope that doesn't happen. And I will embark on this project for the next maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'll come back and see if I can take any questions from you. All right. Well, this is interesting. I don't know what this is, but we'll find out. It is so fascinating to discover through drawing what is it that lurks deep inside of us. You know, um, it is amazing. I encourage and I challenge you to to do this exercise at home. You don't have to show your drawing to anybody, but it will really open up some of the hidden vistas of your psyche, of your mind. And it is the kind of a thing that surrealists did. But I don't like trying to define the joy of being in the studio and creating what you want to create through the isms in art history movements of art history, or in art history rather. So I don't know what it is, but I'll keep going. Well, it's a little bizarre, but if you know me, this is no surprise what's coming out here. Oh, okay. This is kind of like when you call spirits, what is it called, planchet or something like that, and your hand just goes to some letters. It will spell out different things, and you don't know what it's going to say until the end. You ask it a question, and then it answers your question. And don't ask me what it is. I'm not going to delve into that in this session about paint or draw with Mesma, because we are only concerned about drawing. The act of drawing, the act of painting, the joy of being in the studio and unleashing one's potential, and to be in service of our muse, however she wants to appear, however she wants to grab us and make us do what she wants us to do. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying. I'm beginning to think with this now, so I'm going to try not to do that, because I see that the thought is creeping in gradually, and I don't like that. I don't want the thought to creep in. So I have to be very careful. Okay. I also tend to press the pencil too hard sometimes, and that makes it break. So I have to be also careful with that kind of a thing. Okay, no thought, no thought, no thought, no thought. It just has to be totally spontaneous without any preconceived ideas or judgments about what is coming out of you. I love this free flow. There is no particular way in which you think that the drawing will be judged or what it wants to say. And I believe that over time, when you are practicing observational drawing, there are images that subconsciously go and settle in your memory, and then they surface slowly at times like these. I ought to have practiced this in the past in some shape or form, and now it is making its appearance again. It is very intriguing and mysterious how we store images in our memory and then they reappear. This is like dreaming with eyes wide open. So, but it's not daydreaming because you are engaging in action. So it's not a passive daydreamer's activity where you can fantasize and you can go into a whole self-created world that is not manifesting in the real world. Okay, I don't know why this fetus is appearing here, but there's a fetal, something in the fetal position is quite unsettling, but it is here now, so there's nothing I can do about that. Very strange. Okay, well, it's here now. And now it wants to be in a dark, floating in a dark space. So, how strange is that? It is like an open womb of this creature with an animal body and a human head. But the womb is on the shoulder, not here. Anyway, let's stop thinking. Stop thinking about this. This is not about analyzing. So I'm just going to go with it. Just flowing with it. No thought involved in here. This is a very rough drawing. I'm not trying to create a beautiful drawing, but I'm more interested in the content of the visual that comes out of this. And there's a lot of pointedness and also curvature in here, which is intriguing. Anyway, I'm not going to try to analyze this. See, I keep saying I'm not going to, and then I do it. So this is a challenge, but this is why we do this exercise, because we need to stop our analytical mind. We have got to stop it. There are these cone-like things that keep emerging now. Very interesting. Okay. It's hard to talk and to draw, if you have not noticed yet. All right, I think I'm going to stop here for now because otherwise I will go into my other mode of thought and I'll try to alter it according to my conscious decisions. And I don't want to do that. Um, so this is what has come out of my subconscious self. I don't know what it means. You tell me. If anyone who's watching can look into this and tell me what it is. What on earth is it? I have no idea. There is a very strange creature with a human face and an animal's body, but even there is one foot that is human, and the one other foot is like a horse. And these are, I don't know what these, some creature feet. And there's a lion like behind with a tail, and there is this giant flower shape that is a part of its body. And then on his shoulder or her shoulder is kind of like a womb with a little fetus inside. And there are these nodes that come off the side. I don't know what they are. Definitely there's hair that is flying up. And then there are these cone-like structures that seem to come out of points of infinity, vanishing points, and they shoot out towards us. And then this flower-like structure has stamens coming from the depth of this being. Well, whatever it is, it's here. So this is the kind of an exercise that I'll do on occasion. I should do it more often because it helps to release some of the suppressed emotions or suppressed desires, maybe, I don't know, and this, by the way, is not desire. I don't desire to have a baby. But it must have something to do with something. I know that for a fact. But everything else, I don't know what it is. It's some wild creature there. And it seems to be very happy. It seems to revel in its space. And it makes me think of Hieronymus Bosch. It is a Bosch like, maybe I'll paint this. What do you think? Type your comment in the box below and tell me if I should paint this. This is a very intriguing piece of creature. I like it. I think I might use her in something, one of my paintings. Maybe I'll paint her. Anyway, so that is my exercise for today. Drawing from the subconscious mind without any planning, without looking at anything, without thinking about it. And I will maybe make a few more later today, and hopefully I will show you those paintings next week when I come back for another session of paint with Mesma. In this case it was draw with me, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you can try this exercise at home. It is very beneficial, even if you don't have a studio practice, even if you do it on a small journal and like doodle in a journal. That way, you're not intimidated by a larger surface. You can choose your surface, even a small doodle. But the rule is that you're not going to analyze it. You're not going to think with your conscious mind, with your analytical mind, what you are making. And that is the challenge. That the idea is not what comes out, but the process of getting there, the process of seizing your thought process, your unending thought process, it's kind of a meditation, if you will. And I couldn't totally meditate with it because I know I was recording this session, I was aware of it, I knew I had to talk to you, I knew I had to keep commenting on what I was doing. But when I do it alone in solitude, I think it will have a more authentic outcome. Right now, I think that this is a little bit of a mixed outcome. There is some of my conscious self in it. Uh, it is not completely subconscious. Of course, a lot of it is, but not entirely, not 100%. And I'd like to do an exercise where 100% of it is subconscious. And that is my challenge. Your challenge is to start to investigate, to know yourself, know thyself. This is one of the ways in which you can start uh, learning about your own desires, about your own dreams. Sometimes we forget when we dream, when we wake up from our sleep. Uh, I remember a lot of my dreams, but not all. But this is a dream in a state of being conscious. So it's beautiful, I think, and I think that it excites me, and I hope it excites you too. All right, that's all we have time for today's session for Paint with Mesma. Join me next Saturday once more. I come here every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. I was doing this on Instagram. I'm trying YouTube Live at the moment, but I don't know. I might go back to Instagram. I'm seeing where I can get maximum leverage for these sessions. The algorithm does funny things. YouTube has been deleting my posts. So, not YouTube, sorry, Facebook has been deleting my posts. I don't know why. Everything is being very funny. The algorithm for Instagram is being funny. I haven't really tried YouTube that much, so that's why I'm trying this. See what happens. So please leave a comment. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not, and do write to me. Please leave a comment on what kind of sessions would you like me to do in the future. What is it that intrigues you about these sessions? If there's any part of these sessions, you can go to my Instagram page. The link is in the description box below, and you can watch my previous sessions as well, and tell me what is it that you want to see more of, and I will try to bring that to you. All right, so until next Saturday, I bid you farewell. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and a fantastic week ahead. Keep creating and keep spreading the joy. Thank you and goodbye.